back. Keith Fusel joins us here today at the races again. Missed you last weekend. Had a lot going on. Both you and right here at Laurel Park as well.
I want to thank Dave Rodman, the Rod Dog, for filling in.
Yeah.
He does a great job as always. And I leave. The trend continues. Though I took a glance. I didn't get a chance to really. I had a busy weekend. We had a golf tournament for my brother-in-law who passed away a couple years ago from pancreatic cancer.
It went very
Thanks
well
for everybody.
I
know
heard.
we had some donations from people here at the races, the horsemen. So I appreciate everything from them. But that was then. This is now. And that early pick 5 on Sunday. 46,000. Another one single ticket. So man, these races are tough.
Yeah,
and
they are.
It may take a little extra to hit that score, but we're here to kind of lead you in the right direction. Hopefully we can get you to one of those big payouts.
There we go. Well done to the racing office for
Yes.
putting on a wonderful race card throughout the weekend, not just today, Keith, as we have a fast track and a firm turf here in just, after Maryland Milling. That's always a sight you love to see.
I'm loving it. It's great. And the weather is cooperating. We've had a tremendous stretch, and to be able to stay on this turf course and to afford the gamblers this kind of opportunity, it's really special. It's good.
Absolutely. No. So with that being said, let's get right into it here.
Okay.
In our first leg of that early pick 5, of course, 12% low industry takeout in this maiden, claiming 30,000, going a mile and 16th on the turf for the girls. 3 to 5 scratches in the 2, 8, 13, 14, and 15. Keith, you go with the number 1 in ballroom eyes here for Blake Kelly. Jamie Rodriguez makes complete sense here.
Yeah, Cake's Tap Dancer was going to take a slew of play in Callie. We're going to wait another day for that one. Lots of ways to go in the opener. We're talking about early money on Lady Lynx. I don't have her in the mix. You've got her 4th. I go to ballroom eyes. I go inside. And Jamie Rodriguez got a lot of big opportunities, I thought, on today's racing card. This one was a very encouraging debut. Was later part of August. So kind of where has she been? She's 5. Right? This is running out of time. She's got a little bit of time, or she's going to have to break her maiden somewhere else. Maybe it's today. Outside to inside move, you hear me talk about an awful lot. I like her positional speed in here because I think now with Cake's Tap Dancer out, steam not at a big number. Second time blinkers on the turf. Now stretching out, well, the last turf was 5.5. Her best races were long. I think she can carry it. So maybe these two line up, but I think the 5's going to go. And the trend, talking to Dan Ullman and talking to Dave Rodman a little bit, the speed was good over this turf course the last several racing cards. So I'm going to pay close attention to that, see if it holds true. 1-5-5-1 to kind of key around in today's opener.
Yep, and 1-5-4-10 underneath with Laughing Fit Mark Salvaggio. I obviously have that one in my top selection. Minari, Carrie Bryan, Daniel Centeno, just consistent horses to have amongst your picks here today.
If you like Laughing Fit, you got to like Minari, vice versa, out of that same race. Minari might have a little bit more difficult trip. Was caught inside. I think was able to save ground early, but did have to tap the brakes a little bit through the stretch, altered course. But I did like the way the Laughing Fit kept going for Salvaggio. Now returning from that off the turf race last time out.
There we go. 1-5-4-10. Keith Fusel, Rail Horse there is his top selection, a nice 7-2 right now. And Keith, let's dive right into your early pick 4. What do you got for us today?
Yeah, it's affordable. It's $18. You may have to add a little bit. I fear Kissling here in race 2 with some serious speed, but I go 2, 4, and 5 to get you started. Race 3 with the 3, 5, and 9. Rapaz, there's that speed factor again on the turf course. Will she be able to stretch it and take it all the way? Race 4, 3 in the 6, 2 deep there. Diamond Sue, hot route. And race 5, 5 in the 11. Yeah, rough draft. Like this one, first time in the barn for Mikey Drouse, back to 5.5. Valiant Vinny, horse that kind of owes me no money. For Patrick Noosh, gets a major assist with one of the other main speeds coming out. That was the scratch of Ikigai is gone. So I think Valiant Vinny will be able to prompt. There's one other speed, I think, for Dinosaurs. It might be able to go on with it at $18 as your early pick 4 ticket.
We're going to dive into this ticket leg by leg, starting in race number 2. That does start just over an hour and a half there in this, claiming 20,000. Back on the dirt, going 5.5 for these 2-year-olds. Keith, you and I both have the number 4, Bad Boy Blaze, coming back with vengeance last time out after that trouble trip at Timonium.
Gina Robb does great work with the 2-year-olds. The whole Robb. I mean, It's strong. I mean, smaller sample, but a high percentage, high ROI. Finally got to show the talent, right? Unfortunate stumbling at Timonium, came back last time. Where I thought the outer part of the track was, I gave a little bit of a lean. I have an outside lean. This horse vied early outside, then dropped in. Really kicked away nicely, and comparing the internal fractions, they don't, 23, 46, and 3, don't look super sharp. There's only, I think, one other sprint that day. It was going 3/4, so the run-up's not that much different. And there were 2 other than older, and these stack up fairly well. Bad Boy Blaze, I think, if need be, because Kissling's pretty quick at it, as is Sir Mick, to maybe go ahead and prompt and get it done and make it 2 in a row for Gina Rao, No Guts, No Glory, and the rest of that group.
Yeah, runs through. Would you say the race runs through the 4?
I don't think so. I think Kissling is really fast, and when you break down that last 22 and 2 internal, and Bad Boy Blaze was kind of urged up to get to that lead last time out from the outside. Kissling naturally might be just a shade faster, in my opinion. A lot depends on the break at 5.5, but an aggressive move here for Trombetta, dropping Kissling. I look Freedom Stance, second off a little bit of a break, ran into an undefeated horse in Fortissimo. I think it's 4 for 4 out in Ohio. Chased on okay, but Key's up against the right kind. 2-back race, beat Bangkok Bob, who's come back to run well. I think he just recently won at Delaware, running like a 61 fig for 28,000 claimer. So that works for me. I think the inner position works well. And there's J-Rod again to try to stalk and pounce.
There we go. 4-2-5-1 for Keith Fusel there in race number 2 in his first leg of his early pick 4. Let's go ahead to race number 3, his second leg here, back on the turf, going a mile for these girls, 3, 4, and 5 in this maiden special weight. Big enough scratches for me, Keith, at least in the number 2 in this moment. The 10 soundbite as well. You have the number 9 on top. In tuck check, Lindsay Schultz, Forest Boys. Lindsay Schultz having a nice win last week and hoping to just kind of continue on with that success. This one just missed out last time out.
Yeah, outer post definitely concerns me, but was able to get position last time out at Delaware. Prior 2 tries, had some trouble. So finally got a clean run and ran big. Got to the top, upper stretch. Just got run down that final 70 yards. But I think shortening up, you're going to see Forrest try to get position, her game. She's going to be able to spy things, try to draft in. I think this horse with a cleaner run, again, can improve off of that 69 buyer. I lost my video spotlight horse in it, too. I thought that was going to be a good price play in this moment.
Well.
Yeah. Kayla, doesn't have a slew of speed, but has enough kick. And I think it's going to work here. Rapaz going to show some speed. And I think even the horse just to the outside, the 4-horse here for Pat McBurney, Lipochrome, might be able to be forward. Ran pretty well at Keeneland through some pretty good internals. So I'm looking for tuck check to maybe tuck in and go ahead and find Serum that last quarter of a mile to run them down. Anybody else we want to talk about? Yes, Rapaz, speed, ran very good. I even think the last time out was fair. Slower internals, but backed it up, took pressure, just a slight fade. The mile should certainly work. First-time starter, Absoluca. Now, Mike Stidham's only been 1 for 20, 6 for 20 the last couple of years with the 3-year-old first-time starters, specifically 3-year-olds on the turf. But you've got some interesting breeding here. Blue Point I didn't know a whole lot about, but looked at it. Sired a Grade 1 winner. And this mare has struck with a first-time starter in the past. So I'm going to use Michael Stidham here, teaming up with Sedano. Very, very good. And he can get you a horse to go long early.
Absolutely.
Yep.
There we go. Race number 3, 9-5-3-6 for Keith Fusel there. Race number 4 is a maiden claiming 45 on the dirt now. Going 7 furlongs here for the girls, still 3-5. Keith, you and I both go with the number 6 and hot route for Brittany and Sheldon Russell here. This one just returning back to the dirt. It's kind of amongst this field, kind of the easiest one to strike at.
Not completely sold on the rest of the group. I do like Diamond Sue. I like the way she returned off of that Timonium performance with a little bit of trouble. Wasn't able to close. Finished up well behind a Brittany Firster last time. Now, this is a Brittany second timer. She's been very good. She's been very good with these horses when they go from turf to dirt, second out. Tremendous percentage. The thing I didn't like about this, the only thing I didn't like, took no play in debut at Monmouth. I thought that was really, really odd for a Brittany Russell horse, but caught the 10 post. There is dirt here within this family that's going to work. I'm going to play the percentages take Hot Route on top, but I think Diamond 2 is going to be dangerous. I think Proven at
Fair
the
enough.
7/8 of a mile can get position enough. Not Guilty had no excuse last time. I know the blinkers they come off today. I would have liked to seen a little bit more resistance there when Dead Sexy just got the better and kept on going. 6-3, 5-7 for me.
As we go on to race number 5, that starts Keith's third leg, but also starts the Rainbow Pick 6. We have a nice carryover, leaning on. That's well going to be over 9,000 by the time we get there, Keith. I spent money on this ticket. I spent a little bit. I couldn't only because honestly, I could not really find a single on my ticket. And if you did want to search for a single, you're probably going to want to find it. Let's see. You could find it in race. As I scroll just through some of my picks, you could find it. Yes and no in race number 6. Just that's intriguing with that John Salzman Jr. first time start. Race number 8, you and I both go with 3 captains. I think that's an interesting horse to go on with later. Of course, in race number 9, there's a Trombetta. There's a Trombetta starter, I believe. I go 3 deep in that race. I don't think that race is quite set in stone with the number 2, despite the fact that you and I both have that one in our top selection. I could see people singling on it, but we'll dive into that race a little bit further. And then in race number 9, here's the thing. I keep with amongst my 2 top selections and the 2 I give out in some of these, you can maybe find a single in race 8 or 9, but Keith, you and I go completely different ways on a couple of different races here, and that's the gist of what this card is here today. So let's go ahead and get right to it here in the starter optional 12-5, going 5.5 on the turf for the 3-year-olds and up. Scratches in the 1, 2, 8, 13, 14, 15, 16. Those are the AEs. Keith, you go with the number 11. I have that one in my selections, as well as Valiant Vinny. As you mentioned earlier, when you were talking about your early pick 4, he doesn't really owe you any money, and that's right there. He shows up when he comes over here to Laurel.
Barn I've always been a fan of, Patrick Noosh. He runs them when they're ready to run. He's as patient as they come down there in Virginia. You see that the percentage that he hits with the turf sprints, high 20s. So Valiant Vinny came back, ran big, off a little bit of a break down at Colonial. Now, he hasn't won here at Laurel Park, but looking at the key scratch of Ikigai, it leaves me with Smitten Enough as the other speed. Smitten Enough can carry them a ways in here, and when we saw the tendency of this turf course over the weekend. Valiant Vinny has the ability, given a good break, he can prompt, and I think he can prompt and go on the attack here and keep going. He's faced the right kind in previous starter allowance competition. You've got a couple horses here at this time of year, they're making the big drop. Got horses, 2 of these. You got the Trombetta run. Mata in for 12-5. He's 8 years old now. He's had a couple instances where he's laid perfect and hasn't kicked on. Maybe this is the group he gets by, but he's going to be a little bit of a shorter price for me.
Correct.
I think you got a little bit more value in Valiant Vinny, and I think Rough Draft, your top selection, works. Coming back here, shortening up a little bit out of those 2 3/4 races in New York. Do we have a video spotlight for Rough Draft? Off of that race, September the 1st. This is the last time he won, and the last time he won was at 5.5 at Saratoga. These aren't easy races. State bred 2 other thans up there. And out of that race, Curtis Run came back to beat Rough Draft. But I like the way that he settled. He kind of raided in behind horses, worked outward. Right here, it doesn't look like he's quite getting there.
Right.
But the jock kind of puts the whip away and says, you know what, I'm just going to steadily hand ride him. And he responds. And he grinds it out to go ahead and get that narrow victory. Rough Draft, I like the position where he is today. He might even have a little bit more tactical speed than you really look at on paper, because some of the races he comes out of, there's some fast horses. I like him to get positioned today and bring a finish.
Yeah, absolutely. The 9 and the 4 zip line to heaven. The other Trombetta horse that you just didn't happen to mention, always consistent here at Laurel, always consistent at this level.
Yeah, that's true. I look at Lucci, a horse that I key off of in these starters and making a run. He, like Mata, hasn't brought the finish we're really expecting these horses in the past.
Pop.
We've seen them for a while, but I think they're going to work. And I just like the edge Valiant Vinny might get against this group with his tactical advantage to go ahead and get the jump on some of these closers. But I like Rough Draft here moving in for Mike Juralis at the 5.5. That could be key.
No, absolutely. Let's go ahead and talk about race number 6. We go from pool to pool. Let's talk about, of course, not only our jackpot super high 5, of course, that 15% takeout, get those horses 1 through 5, but also our late pick 5. Our late pick 5 gets a little bit of traffic. I always think it's a great sequence to go off on. A 12% low industry takeout, and it is a proper jackpot super high 5 here in this maiden, claiming 12.5, going 3/4 of a mile on the dirt for the 2-year-olds. Keith, you go with the number 4, Bobby. Rocky Jake here for Michael Simone, Jamie Rodriguez. I completely understand it. This is a proper jackpot.
I am throwing the dart at the board for this race.
I'm
not taking anything below probably 6-1 in my selection. I'm looking at this race. I went back and forth, back and forth. Yes, I fear the first or Walk on the Wild Side. Our little Lou Reed reference the other day was scratched. Now comes back. Forward works. Kin to some really fast horses. Liar's Dice, the Wolfman, and others. So yeah, I think this horse is going to be interesting. Tab the Toad. I think this horse will take play.
Yeah.
But just an interesting horse. Bobby Rocky Jake. 12-1 morning line. You're going to get Jamie Rodriguez. I like that. You got a top rider on a 12-1. Horse has a couple races on the go back against the right kind. The blinkers went on, and he just hasn't quite figured it out. But maybe that deeper surface at Delaware recently, he's going to come back, got a little bit more spring. There's some speed that's going to be in this race with Up in Flames. You've got not great vintage, but I think Walk on the Wild Side is going to bring some speed. And there's one other one in here. I'll get to it. Sir Chance-A-Lot on the outside. Flow's going to be okay. I don't trust any of these horses really going 6 rounds. I'm hoping the firster can get it.
You're right.
So I'm looking for Bobby Rocky Jake to close in. He's done it in the past. He did it behind some decent horses. And that race at Timonium was sneaky good. Horses have come out of there, and they've been okay. Throw that one in there. Now here's my second angle. 20-1 morning line, right, on great vintage. Aaron McClellan been sneaky good when shipping into Maryland the last couple years.
All right.
Synthetic to dirt angle. It worked about a month or so ago with She's a Lino. Taking a shot here. There is some, there's a little bit of dirt in the family. Second start, high ROI for this barn. Take some shots in race 6. Demand value. Up in Flames might be the horse to beat. Proven speed.
Yep.
Had to make 2 kind of runs. Showed speed. Drop back came again to chase.
That's what I like.
Last time against Bad Boy Blaze. So.
Yeah.
That's a look. I mean, a scramble for me in race 6. Real scramble.
Well, hopefully we get a little bit more aligned on some of these races. We'll find out after this commercial break to talk about the rest of Thursday's card. And we're back here in race number 7. Not only it starts that late pick 4, which I love that sequence as well. In this maiden special weight, 1 mile and 16th on the turf for the 2-year-old fillies. Very, very interesting race here, Keith. Talking about all the AEs scratch out, or the AEs plus the number 12, Margot's Margarita, is out. Talking about the number 2, let's get right to it. Let's go ahead and look at Sail the Seven Seas in the Jamestown for Michael Trombetta and Karamanos.
Yeah, good effort here. I went back and read that chart again. Gotten a little bit of trouble heading into the turn as well. Wandered a little bit, upper stretch, but finishes up and closes in quite well. Just misses. War Humor came back Sunday. Big effort against a horse of Hammy's. I really like Stormy Flight on the turf, right? So this one comes on, makes a big run. I think Sail the Seven Seas works beautifully here when you look at her breeding. It's there, bottom side in the Navy now. This makes this one a half to Naval Empire, active, really talented horses going along on the turf. So there's multiple route winners within this family that stretch out getting back to the turf. Had that build up, stayed on the off the turf race last time. If I had to say a horse should be first or second today, this is one. You're not going to get a huge price. We've got this stat to back it up. Tromby, the last 45 days at Laurel with his turf runners, 26% with an ROI of 263. I really like Sail the Seven Seas. A stranger in here for me would be the 5. At a decent number, I think you're going to get, again, well beaten both starts.
Sure.
An excuse in turf debut, in the debut on the grass, going 5.5 last time. I just may not have liked the good going on the main track.
Right.
But there is plenty of turf here. You go back to the second dam, Sparkling Number, man, she was good. Sprint. But there are some horses in the family that have gone longer on the turf as well. I just think Dirtied Up Lines and J-Rod Stays, that gives me a little bit of encouragement. This horse might pop third time out.
On top of that, Vacoma, very, very a hot sire right now.
Okay.
He doesn't show, not a lot he's 1 for 3 on his second time turf, and then Anthony Ferrier, 7 for 16 in the money with his second time routers. So it does track a little bit here as well. Talking also about the number 3, Radiant Tones. I felt bad for leaving this one off of my ticket because you have to respect the effort that we saw in that first start from Milan Milosevic with Torrealba.
Yeah, really big at a big number, 20-1 at Colonial. Behind Arctic Outbreak, it was DQ'd. So the horse that got put up came back. That was a Mark Cassidy runner, ran very well at Woodbine in an allowance race on the turf. That gives me definite hope. This horse keys up against the right kind, positional speed, that stamina is there. Capable trainer with turf runners and Milan Milosevic. Yeah, I'm going to use this horse, Radiant Tones, to get a good trip on her just off the pace. I think you'll see this horse stalking today.
Sure, well enough. And then in the 8, Delayed, we have to discuss Delayed. Of course, a very well-bred coming in here for Graham Motion. Georgie Ruiz, first-time turf starter.
It's a small sample, but they're perfect. 3 for 3 in the money. This owner-trainer combo with these horses going long. Material first time out on the turf. I'll throw that one in there. Anything by Uncle Mo, I respect. So 2, 5, 3, 8. Yeah, this is an interesting race. I think there's lots of ways to go and exact this around Sail the Seven Seas. That's kind of how I'm going to work. She's going to need to be 1-2 for me, but I will throw a couple bucks on this Farrier horse at a good number.
No, that's a good catch. I like that there. 2, 5, 3, 8 in race number 7 for Keith Few. So we go to race number 8 in the starter optional 30,000, going a mile on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up. You and I both go with the number 2, 3 captains, Hammy Smith, Victor Carrasco, seemingly loving the dirt much more than any of his turf runs.
At the burger truck that went on behind me, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
is that a sign?
Let's get a burger. Anyhow,
yeah.
3 captains. You're getting a horse here that's eligible for 3 in life and going in against some salty starter allowance types. Some horses have been knocking on the door and other than. Interesting move for Hammy, but respect. We've talked about this one on the show before. When he does this move, the claimers, and protects him into an allowance or a starter allowance, really pay attention. Maybe it was the mud. I don't think so. I think the light bulb just went off on this horse, 3 captains, because he did this with Penny Loafer, who didn't run nearly as fast as 3 captains, came back to beat Most Perfect and others, and that was the tops of the chart in that race. So pay attention when he protects. This horse, I think, can get close enough. There's some speed in here with Splendor Beauty, tops of the charts and Most Perfect. Go ahead and show the video of that race if you don't mind, guys, from October the 3rd. But I think the speed is going to be there, and you're going to see it this particular afternoon. Now, they didn't go super fast, did Most Perfect. A little bit of a heavier track for 24 and 350 and 2 going 2 turns. But these horses both can hang around. But I think with the fact that Splendor Beauty is in here, maybe the spot or the position is, let's go ahead and send Splendor Beauty to take a little starch out of tops of the charts, Most Perfect, because Giordani wants that target. Giordani has a tendency to hang just a bit, but he wants that help. He wants a contested flow up top.
Also,
he might get it, but Splendor Beauty's run 2 good races here at Laurel, so he's one from just off of, but I still think he's going to be forward in here to keep these other ones honest. You talk about tops of charts, who I don't have in the mix, but everything Ferris Allen's running now is running big and can do it at a number for you. So let's work around 3 captains. I think we'll get an okay price, and Walk Away Joe is as steady as they come. He's a grinder. The flow will be there for him today. It's been a long time since he's run. I think you've got to go back to April, of 2023, that he's run this 1-turn mile at Laurel Park.
I think, and especially coming off of that, that's underestimated for sure. I love that you have him in your exacted there. 2, 1, 3, 5 for Keith Fustel in race number 8. Our feature race is back on the turf in this allowance, in this restricted allowance, going a mile and 16th on the turf for the girls, 3 and up. Scratches in the 11 and scratch in the 12. You have the number 9 victory badge on the outside here. Michael Trombetta, Georgie Ruiz gets the call.
I kind of struggled with this race, and I was going around and around. I said, here's a sneaky Trombetta play.
There we go.
I love it when he kind of slides something in there. You got victory badge. You got Ruiz, right? That didn't change, did it? Can I confirm for me? Because I've got the early edition. So he's 71%, small sample with Ruiz here. This horse she's kind of got it going right now. She had a little bit of an excuse 2 races back at Presque Isle on the synthetic. Comes into this race off of the top, the 74. Turf races on the go back are better than what it looks. I like that run against Supernaut Coco. Blinkers, first time blinkers, turf. there's lots of angles here that are working for me. Out of a mare that she was good, Grade 1 stakes winner. I think going back here to the turf, long turf, works for me. You've got some speed to target. The 8 Lady Dioro is going to go along with Miss Amazing. We can go to that video. We both have her in our picks for Gary Capuano. But the only thing I'm worried about with this one, she jumped up, caught a field at 44-1. She was used wide, kind of out of that chute into the first turn. Into the stretch first time to get the lead. So that's not easy. They might have figured it out. Just steadily hand-ridden throughout. Maybe she doesn't like the crop. She kind of wins. She looks like she's laboring to touch, maybe waiting, but she kept on well through the gallop out.
Yeah.
She's going to have to deal with the 8 Lady Dioro for Mike Pino. I think it's going to be forward, but it's interesting, a big improvement off of the previous number, but that was first Blinks, first Lasix on the turf for Miss Amazing. I think Biloxi Blues. Yeah, it's been 398 days since she's last been seen, but showed a little bit of talent prior. Good win at a mile and an eighth on the go back at Colonial on the turf course. She's got to finish. Her works look good. She's coming in here with blinkers, and maybe just a time to mature, grow up a little bit, because you look at some of the comments in her races, a little steady, a little rank, a little keen.
Yep.
You know, some things there that were kind of just maybe not mentally she was quite right. Maybe she's tied on a little bit more here at the age of 4, and we can see a better effort, because if she comes back close to that form, she's going to be right here with a finish first time for Jimmy Toner.
And I think with the blinkers on, that kind of attributes to the possibility, the big possibility that she's matured, because normally when you get ones that are keen and rank and early on, the last thing you want to do is put blinkers on. Okay. So that's a really big indicator, and that's what I noticed, and I just left it. I just wanted to see it, but I totally believe it here and understand it here. Yeah. Absolutely. 9-2-4-1 for Keith there in race number 9. Finale here in a claiming 12-5 for the girls 3 and up, which have never won 3 going 7 furlongs here on the dirt. Scratches in the 10, 11, and 13. You and I both go with number 7. Kitty's Pretty here. 4, Ned Allard, Carol Cedeno. Of course, really flashy performance last time out. And oh, sorry, Keith. You have the number 9. Let's talk about the number 9. Subway Susie, Mario Saray Jr., Grant Whitaker here.
Well, Subway Susie, I think, turning back. I should say turning back, but getting a little break and going back on her form. That race at a mile and 16th at Monmouth, just off the pace to draw off. She's given time to relax, and looking at the flow, the setup, I think that's going to be the key. She just looks like the type that's going to hit 7/8 is going to be perfect for her. She's going to be able to sit, rate. Grant can do that and make that steady, prolonged run, maybe from the 3/8 pole home here for Cerez to get some of these horses back running in Maryland. Your top selection, the 7, yeah, the blinkers went on. She's always had that natural speed. She kind of took to the drop. You know, she faced some better horses in the past. That was an easier group last time. That's my biggest concern. Yeah. She wide early, easy winner, and maybe when you're looking at the margin and everything, but she was under a drive from the quarter pole home. So she's going to have to work with the likes of Shake It Baby coming back here for Kieran off the rated trip. I think is going to be into the race a little sooner, and Lady Charlotte. I'm looking for something to make a little run from a little bit further off the pace. That's going to be the 9 Subway Susie. I think Prize Debate's been steady form. 7/8 works for her as well. She's going to get that inside-out trip from, say the 5/16 pole home.
And there we go, 9, 3, 5, 7 there for Keith Fusel in race number 10. Let's go ahead and dive into those picks a little bit more, starting with your best bet in race number 7, Sail of the 7 Seas, Trombetta Caramanos. What's not to like about that one?
Tromby theme on both best bets and value. Hope he has a big day here on the turf. Sail of the 7 Seas, we talked about the stretch out. Big effort against a horse that came back to run big. That was that Ollie Fagan's horse, Warhammer, just missed the Stormy Flight. I really like Stormy Flight. And this one has the breeding. Half to Naval Empire, half to Active, proven route winners on the turf.
And also talking about your value play in race number 9, 8-1 on Victory Badge for Trombetta. It's a day of Trombetta here on the turf, with this time with Ruiz.
And you know, at that kind of price, I've got to take the shot. I think Dan likes this one as well.
Okay,
so he had some angles. My angle is first blinkers on the turf, holding form. She looks like she's just getting into her top stride right now. She's got races on the go back at 2 against the right kind that work for me to give me that confidence. And you got Ruiz, and they've been deadly together, Tromby and Ruiz. Small sample, but at like 65, 70%.
Let's talk about another Trombetta that was on the turf, but this time at Woodbine. There was a really nice Maryland-bred specific exacta upset in the display up there at Woodbine. Thundering, who is under Patrick Dixon, and you know, kind of sat right off of it, and it was rounding in Bucaro, who of course is with Mike Trombetta, who won the juvenile stakes at Presque Isle. Previous start, made a wide move, but just wasn't able to get up to Thundering. So as far as, just kind of diving into the breeding a little bit, Thundering is out of Keep Right, a street cry mare initially purchased by Country Life Farm for 50 grand at the 2018 Fazig New York mix sale, and also a half sibling to One Silk Stocking. So you have just, again, and now has earnings of 146,000. She was third in all Brandy Stakes. So just just a bit of props to Trombetta and our Maryland breds here, taking it in other places.
They can definitely travel.
Yeah,
Pay
absolutely.
attention. Yes.
Definitely. We will be on to Dave Rodman for some more changes and scratches. Keith, thanks for joining us, and good luck out there, everybody.
All right, good luck.